start the session and we talk about what this session is and then how we plan to take this session, and then we'll slowly go into the topics. So hello everyone. Once again, good morning. Welcome to the session. I hope I'm clearly audible and my screen is visible. If you face any difficulties, please put it in the chat or please let us know.
Ismail, if you can increase some volume, because it's clear, but it can be better if you can just a little bit increase the.
Okay. I will try to speak a little louder. The volume can be increased at your end. I do not have any control on the volume. So you can make sure that you are listening to the maximum volume if you have any settings. I have the maximum volume at my side. And I will try to speak a bit louder so that it is clear. I hope it is better.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sajjad, I request you to check the chat window and then keep replying to that.
Yes.
I'll be focusing on the presentation.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
I'm there.
Let's get started. So today is the first day of the Data Science Bootcamp. So this bootcamp is majorly aligned towards understanding what data science is, what is the field of data science, what we do actually in data science. We talk about a lot of data science, analytics, advanced analytics, AI, ML, and we hear a lot of these terminologies around our day-to-day life in the software, in the academics, or in the IT industry. So we hear all of these terminologies, and then if we can have a clear understanding of what it is, what these terms means, and then how do we exactly use the data to make sense and how the data is impacting the world. To get a clear view of this, we have organized this bootcamp so that first thing is we understand what this field is. The second thing is, if this field is interesting, then you can take a decision if you want to jump into this field and then put your efforts into learning and understanding and then making a career in this field. So this is more of an eye-opener session if you are new to data science, if you are looking at understanding what data science is, or if you have already worked on something which is related to data, and then you want to see what else you can use in order to use the data in a much better way in which the industry is using. So this is the objective to get you an understanding of end-to-end working of data science, models, solutions, and algorithms. So the agenda of this this 3-day bootcamp is spread across. The first day, we talk about the data itself, and we talk about what is data science, AI, ML, and then we talk about what are the different use cases that we see. This is something that we will focus on the day one. The second day, we will have an introduction to ML algorithms. We see what are the different algorithms which are present in machine learning, and then we go into looking at different supervised and unsupervised models, which are majorly used in machine learning. On the day 3, we talk about end-to-end building a solution for a data science, how we build a data science solution, starting from the data till getting the results and measuring the impact. And we also talk about various career opportunities which are present in the field of data science. We talk about the career opportunities in terms of understanding all of these terminologies, then it becomes easy to speak about the career opportunities. If I talk about ML engineer, without understanding what ML is, it doesn't make a clear understanding of what ML engineer does. So that is where we have the career opportunities, which talks about linking all these terminologies, all these algorithms and solutions, and the objective of doing various solutions, building various solutions. We talk about the career opportunities in line to these things. Before I start, let me just give a brief about myself. So I am working as a lead data scientist at one of the company called Blend 360. My name is Mohammed Ismail. I have over 10 years of experience in the field of data science, majorly into customer analytics and personalization. I have a post-graduation from Indian Institute of Management, Ranchi, and a bachelor's from MJCET. So I've given my email as well as mobile number. If you at any point require anything, any assistance, you can message me or drop an email. To start with the session, we actually start from what is the data and what data was. So if we start thinking about the data, now this is something that the data we used to see. So some of the points about me is over here. This is all the data we used to store maybe 10 years back. And then we started working on the data, and then it started saving where does it stay, where does Smile stay, what are the places that Smile is working, what are the companies Smile has worked, what are the places that Smile has visited, their food and healthy food, data science background. This is all the data that we used to store, and maybe 10 more facts about me, which was getting stored by different companies. And this is the entire universe of data that used to be stored. And what is happening now is the data is being captured by everything. Now, the companies know my education level, my work experience, my hobbies, what I do in free time, what I do search on different websites, what I buy online, what I buy offline. Am I a smoking person, non-smoking person? What are my preferences? What are the creatives? What are the links? What are the advertisings that I like? What are the brands which I prefer to buy, and what price range do I prefer to buy different things? And the company also know how they can change my behavior. And this is not the only thing. They know 10,000 more points about me, which even I'm not aware of. And this is true for everyone. Any person who is having an online presence, they store so much data about every customer that even we do not know what our habits are, what our uh, preferences are, what our uh, likings in terms of what advertising we like, what kind of ads we see, what kind of ads we spend time on, how can we show any of the thing that can be given to that customer. And they have many different points about us being stored. Now, this is how the data is expanding. Now, if we talk about how the data is expanding, this is the granularity. This is where 1 petabyte is what a human can store. This is where 100 years of HD video, which is the blue line, it shows this is how much the data of 100 years of high definition video and audio gets stored. And this is a gray line, which shows how much data we are generating every day. So there was a very important saying that came up by Eric Smith, who was the CEO of Google. He says that we are creating as much data every 2 days as much data we had already up to 2003. So every day, every 2 days, we are doubling the data. So this is what is the huge amount of data that is getting generated, stored, and saved. Now, just to give you an idea how the data is being created. So a person is spending some time on his bed, browsing something, and people are generating 3.9 billion petabyte emails sending in from their mobile just by sitting. There are 300 billion emails that are sent, and there are some 500 tweets which are being sent. And this is true across all the different platforms, across the people in all the different places of the world. So people are using the mobile, people are using internet, sending emails, receiving emails, putting your likes on the Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You're seeing a lot of these high definition videos. People are creating high definition content. People are saving, liking, and then seeing those websites, which shows those ads. So this is how the data is being generated everywhere. We are the ones who are generating this data, and the companies are where the data is getting stored, saved. Now, with all this data being generated and stored, what should we do with this data is an important question that the companies have. Now, they store this data. So just a cartoon over here, which talks about how the management is thinking about the data. Now, what they're doing is like hey, get all the data, get all the information that you can capture, store it, we'll use it later. So this is what the company started to do. So when we have seen these websites coming up, maybe like for very simplicity, take for example, Amazon. Now, Amazon has came up with a lot of sellings. People are buying the products. And what Amazon is doing is they don't know how to use the data when it started. And how they started to do is like, hey, get all the data that is possible, save it. We'll think about how to use the data later. Now, once they get all that data, which is being gathered, saved, what they want to do next is they started thinking, what do I do with all the data? That is where the visualization come in. People started to create reports, dashboards, and started to analyze what is happening, what people are shopping, what people are liking, how people prefer to shop. If there is a person who is like a housewife, what time does she prefer to shop? If someone is working, what time they prefer to shop, or which days they are shopping, what products they are shopping, what are the products they have in stock, what are the products running out of stock. That is all the things that people started to visualize. Visualize is where we put in dashboards, put in some charts, and then show that, hey, the sales yesterday was so and so, now the sales has increased, and then we start to show those lines. And this was where the consumption of data, it all started. Now, once they started to bring all those dashboards, people started to analyze. Now, what they started to analyze is what has happened. Now, this is where this cartoon comes in, which says that, hey, I got all the data, I saved all the data, we have collected it. Now we have also started to visualize it. And then right now, I know what customers prefer to buy in 1996. This is how people started to think about the use of data. They started to understand what people did, what sales happened, or how is the sales happened last year, last month, and everything to do with what data gave. Now, this is where most of the companies started to focus on understanding the trends. But that's not the only thing. Now, if you start to think, this is the easiest thing that can be done with the data. What happened? Understanding what has happened. Understanding if the sales have happened or not. Understanding if someone has clicked on a user advertising or not. Understanding how much revenue we are generating, or understanding how much demand we have or how much sales we are doing. So this is all you see on the left side, which talks about two axes, the value we are generating and the difficulty it is to use or to implement something. The first thing is what has happened. To understand what has happened, it brings in a little value and it is very easy, it is not difficult. The next question, which is more important than understanding what have happened, is why did it happen? So understanding if I have brought in a new product, maybe I have brought in Samsung Galaxy S product launched by Samsung, and they understand that the product failed. But understanding why that product failed is little more important than just understanding how much sales has happened. Similarly, for Amazon, if he has launched a new product, maybe they have launched a new jacket. Now they understand that the sales has not happened. So that is what has happened gives. So it says that, hey, your jacket did not sold. Maybe there are like just 300 jackets that got sold. That's fine, but it did not get in more value. What value can it bring if you are able to understand why did it not sell? Why did the jackets not sell? Or why did Samsung Galaxy Y did not sell? So understanding why it happened or why something happened is having more value, and doing that is a little more difficult. Now, if I have already launched a product and if I understand that Samsung Galaxy Y failed and it failed because it was not having a good camera, doesn't help me. Now, what will help me more is to understand before launching the project, before launching the product, if I can predict what will happen. Now, if the companies would have known that launching this product would result in a disaster, they would have taken some step. Now that they have already launched, they cannot do any step. Similarly, for a grocery, Amazon has launched Amazon Grocery. Now, understanding how much sales it is happening, or understanding where sales is happening and why the sales are happening and not happening is one thing. But if they can predict what will happen if they introduce something that will bring in more value to the company, and much better if we can make it happen. How can we make it happen? How can we improve the grocery sales? How can we improve the sales of maybe the new jacket that is being launched? So this is where we generate, excuse me, this is where we generate the maximum value. How can we make it happen? And it is more difficult, but it has the maximum value. And this is where the data science is all about. Understanding what will happen and making it happen how you want to happen. For example, if we are launching launching a grocery, Amazon launching a grocery, Amazon grocery. Now, when it is launching, understanding which areas work, which areas doesn't work, which customers will buy, which customers doesn't buy is one thing, which will give us a budget estimate of how much revenue, how much profit we can make. But if we can also predict if we have to send some kind of an offer, some kind of a campaign, some kind of an article to these people, they can help change the behavior of those customers, and we can bring those customers onto the platform and make it happen, make it sell, make it have more, sorry. We can make it happen in the sense that we will be able to change the impact on by not doing anything would have gone. By not doing anything, we would have got 300 customers. By targeting the right set of customers, we might have got 300,000 customers. Now, this is where the data science comes in. And some of the companies started to do this. They started to do what will happen. They started to do how it can happen. Now, when companies started to make use of data and help change the behavior of the customers, help achieve what they want to do, that is where the world started to realize that the data is the new oil. Now, this is where the companies who are using the data is extracting the maximum out of the customers, making the most revenue of the from the customers, having the maximum sales. So that is where the world started to realize that the data is the new oil in terms of it has a very similar connotation as the oil. The oil is already there in the ground. Unless and until you do not extract it, use it, you will not get the value. Similarly, for the data, every company started to save the data. And those companies which started to save as well as use, they are getting the maximum benefit out of the data, similar to what the countries with a lot of oil reserves are doing. So there are a lot of these African countries who has a lot of oil reserves, but they are not extracting it, and it is not helping them. And there are countries which has a lot of oil reserve, and they are extracting it, and they are the world superpowers. Like if you, for example, the Russia and the US, they have a lot of oil reserves, they have extracted it and then become superpowers. There are a lot of these African countries which have a lot of oil reserves, they're not using it, and it is not benefiting them. The same is the scenario with companies. A lot of companies have the data. They are sitting on huge piles of data. Now we need people who can go there and then say that, hey, you got the data, let us use this data in so and so fashion, which will bring you so and so revenue. Now, this is what the companies are looking for. If we can extract their value from the data. So this is where the world started to realize that the data is a new oil. You start using the data, you get a lot of benefit. Now, we'll go into what the life cycle of data is to understand how we can use this data, or how the companies are using the data today in terms of understanding both the value of the data as well as bringing out the value from the data. The first is where the data is getting generated. So we all are the people who are generating the data. You go on an Amazon, see a page, like a page, view a page, add something to the cart. That is where you are generating the data. The companies, whatever actions you are doing, it all gets saved. That is what is called as collection. So whatever action that you are doing on the Amazon application, it all gets saved. So Ismail has visited so and so pages, he has bought these products, everything gets collected, stored. There are a lot of sensors which measures the temperature, which measures the precipitation. It can be anywhere. So we are collecting the data both from the online platforms as well as the offline world. We have CCTVs which are collecting all the live videos across the state, across the city. All is getting, everything gets collected. And then we have processing. How do we store that data which is collected in the best possible way so that the data is stored for a longer time in a small storage? So that is where we process that information that is getting generated. And then we have a lot of these storages. So we have storage platforms, SQLs, databases, data lakes, where all this data gets stored. Now, once the data gets stored, the management of the data comes into picture. The management is where we decide which data to be stored where. Now, there might be some videos which you might not want to see it on a daily basis. So those are the things that you can put in an archive where the storage is cheaper and it takes a lot more time to retrieve them, but it is very cheap to store. Now, there might be some other usage of the data. Like, for example, your transactions, you're doing banking transactions, you're using mobile apps to do a lot of these transactions, PhonePe, Paytm. Now, that data which is present cannot be stored in the archive because we need that data very well. At a click of button, you cannot wait for 5 minutes after opening Paytm to get your balance. So all of those management decisions comes into once the data is stored, which kind of storage has to be used in what kind of information, how do we move that data from one place to another, all of those comes under the management. The sixth point is where we start to analyze. So analysis is the way we talk about understanding what has happened, understanding how much sales has happened, understanding everything, and then putting all of those into use by taking something in terms of making those predictions, making a prediction about what will happen, making a prediction, will the customer click on any of these websites, making a prediction if the customers will click on the advertising which I'm sending, and all of those different things, analyzing them. Now, this is where the data science comes in to use that data which is stored, create analysis of that, build various different kinds of models, build solutions on the data that we are storing. And the next thing is where we visualize these things, show it to the management on the dashboard, saying that, hey, this is what your usual sales are, but these are the things that we did, and this is how the sales are improving, the sales are changing, or the sales, the new customers are being acquired, and so on and so forth. So all of those things gets on a dashboard for the management to visualize, and that is where the management does an interpretation about how things are working, how it is impacting, and all those things in terms of using the data. Now, this is the usual life cycle of data. Now, we come here in the part of analysis where we talk about how we can use the stored data in the best possible way to bring value to a company. And to do all of those things, this was the data structure, this was the big data landscape, which used to help us do all of those things. And this is the big data landscape as of 12. And this is how it became in 2021. This is how the companies are expanding in terms of bringing those analytical capabilities to use data. And the world is going into the phase where we have a lot of data, but we are also good at using the data, storing it, and analyzing it. And to do all of those data lifecycle, we have companies which focus on many of those aspects of data. And the data analytics is where we focus on in the field of data science. Now, once we have that understanding, now coming to what data science actually is, to understand what that data science is. Now, data science is programming by using the data, which helps build data science rules. Now we have a lot of data, we have programming. Can we bring in some kind of rules? Can we bring in some kind of rules extracted from the data, which will help us make some sense of the data? Now, if you are working for a school which has 5 different students, you will be very easily able to know what student is, what each student is focusing on, how each student is working, how each student is progressing. But when you are a principal of a school which has 50,000 different students working, studying across different geographies, then it becomes very difficult for you to just see what and how each student is performing. So that is where we use the data science programming to bring the rules from the data to understand what data is saying, what are the insights that are coming in. And for this, we have various different kinds of algorithms which will help us. Now, artificial intelligence is the great umbrella under which everything comes into. The machine learning, the deep learning, everything which comes in the field of using machines to help us make sense of the data, or to help us make sense of things which a human is not working on building. So similar, for example, robotics. Robotics also comes into the umbrella of artificial intelligence. Now, machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, which uses the machine's learning capability to learn about the data and make an understanding of the data. So that is where we have a lot of these machine learning algorithms, tools, platforms, which help us use machine learning to build rules from the data. And a subset of machine learning is the deep learning, or also called as neural networks. Neural network is a subset of machine learning. So we'll go into the details of how machine learning and deep learning are different. Now, what data science is? Now, the data science is where we use machine learning, some part of machine learning, we use some part of deep learning, we use some part of artificial intelligence, bring it all together to make sense of the data. That is where data science is positioned on the different aspects of deep learning, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence, we can also think about the cameras, about the robotics, or about the machines which are able to make decisions on their own. So there is a lot of these very big umbrella of artificial intelligence, but there is a subset of that artificial intelligence which focuses on the data aspect of it. So that is where the data science uses that. Similarly, there are a lot of these algorithms in the machine learning where we have algorithms being developed, algorithms being researched every day. But in data science, we are not researching algorithms. We are using algorithms, or we are using machine learning algorithms which are already developed to apply to a data science problem, to apply to a data, get a solution on. Similarly, on the deep learning, we have a lot of research, R&D being done to build new deep learning algorithms. In data science, we do not research on building new algorithms. What we focus on is to use those existing algorithms to apply on the data and then get value out of it. So for example, if you think about automobile, now we have an industry of automobile which researches on making those vehicles better and better. But a subset of it is where we use those automobile to help us do our deliveries. Now that is similar to what we are doing in data science. We have a lot of research being done on neural networks. We do not work on researching those neural network algorithm development. We use those algorithms to build solutions which can help us bring value from the data. So similar to that, artificial intelligence, machine learning, then we have artificial neural networks and deep learning. So deep learning is also the neural networks, and we have artificial neural networks, which is inspired from how the brain works. So artificial neural network is a science which uses how the brain works on building those relationships. And we have a lot of these algorithms. We, on the day 3, we go into how we use these machine learning algorithm end to end. We take a use case and then talk about, right now we're just defining what it is. Now, some of the use cases of data science, machine learning, we talk about how and where we are using. The first thing is where, for example, traffic prediction. We predict how many vehicles will be passing. Search engine results. We have this search engine. You go and write on Google something. We understand what you are writing and then recommend the right things to you. This is where the search engine results comes in. Online fraud detection. Now, there is a very big field of fraud detection which works on identifying what is the intention. Now, a customer is using their credit card or debit card, it got stolen. Before the customer reports it, we have fraud detection systems put in place, which can understand if any new transaction is coming, we'll be able to know with a lot of accuracy if that transaction which is coming is a fraud being done by a person who is a fraudulent or a real customer. For example, we know what customers' behavior was. For example, Smile is doing a lot of these transactions, and then we already know where Smile lives, where Smile already does a transaction daily. He has done a transaction in Hyderabad. Now a new transaction is coming in routed through some European country. And then the systems realize it that there is an anomaly in this, and it will be flagged as a fraudulent transaction. Similarly, customers place orders. Now, someone places an order, we understand that whether he is a genuine customer or a fraudulent customer. And there are a lot of these fraudulent cases which are being reported every day, and we help companies build these fraud detection systems. Medical diagnostics. So we have customers or the patient's images being taken to understand, read those images to understand if the patient is having particular disease or not. Text and speech recognition. You speak something on mobile, and then we convert that text, we convert your speech to text, and then make an understanding of that. So that is where a lot of applications uses text and speech recognition. Email spam filtering, a very well-known case. You have your Gmail, you get a lot of these spams. We have built-in systems which will help us detect whether that email is coming in as a spam or not a spam. And then we tag those emails. Image recognition, virtual personal assistant. I'm not going into the details. I'm just moving through so that you might have already got an idea of what these different use cases are. Automatic translation. You speak in one language, the system translated it to another language. And many of these use cases, the very important thing is it brings in value to the company which is doing. A very simple example is if you are searching for something, like if you are searching for a product on a website and you misspell it. Now, if the website is not recognizing what you have searched for, it will not return you anything. But if it can predict what you meant to write, and it will give you the relevant recommendations. For example, you search for jacket, but you misspelled it. And instead of K, you put in C. And then because there is no such jacket with double C, the system doesn't return you any product. And then you will go back thinking that there is no jacket on this website. You go to another website, you search with the same spelling, but then that has a better search engine results, which already detects what that spelling mistake is and understood that you meant to write jacket. It returns products, and this particular company will get the sales. And it is true across all the different aspects of these things. For example, you visited a website, you are looking for jacket, and then it also gives you a recommendation to buy the shoes which is matching in similar fashion, or which is suiting your jacket that you are buying. The right recommendation will help the company sell the product, you buy a product. So that is where the companies get incremental profit. The recommendations engine, the right recommendation engine, the right search results, it has to be built for the data and the customer that the company is having. If Amazon has built in that recommendation engine, Amazon will get more sales. And if there are no such recommendations engine for Flipkart, Flipkart will keep losing the business to Amazon. And that is where the companies, the numbers in terms of revenue and profitability comes in. How those companies are making a lot of profit while some companies are going into losses is how companies are helping customers help take those decisions. Now we have multiple different algorithms in machine learning. We have supervised machine learning, we have unsupervised machine learning. In the supervised, we have classification, regression. In the unsupervised learning, we have dimension reduction, clustering, we have reinforcement learning. So these are the various algorithms. On the day 2, we'll go into the details of what each of these things is. So we'll talk about what unsupervised learning, what supervised learning is. We talk about with regression, classification, dimension reduction, clustering, all of these algorithms in one use case. So that is planned for the day 2. This is where I just wanted to show you that there are 3 different classes of machine learning algorithms: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. The difference between a machine learning and deep learning is where in machine learning, you take some kind of an input and then create some kind of a data which needs to be used by the machine learning algorithms. So this is where the human comes in and create the data in a format which a machine learning algorithms should be feed with. Now, this is where a human comes in, and the output of this particular loop from the input to the output in a machine learning is highly dependent on a human, how human create that data in a form which a machine learning algorithm will need it. So that is where there is a feature extraction human sitting in the loop for a machine learning. In the deep learning, we have removed those things and then we just give an input and then we get an output. And in between, we have all of these things done by the deep learning algorithm. Now, you might be thinking that why do we need a machine learning when a machine can do everything? Why do we have to bring in a human in between to get a machine learning? The key difference is when you are building a deep learning algorithm, it needs huge amount of data to get the results. But for most of the cases, we will not have that huge data. For example, for building a deep learning algorithm, it might need millions of data points. But when you do not have those millions of data points, we cannot use deep learning. So that is where we'll use machine learning algorithms. And then we bring in some kind of a human expertise to bring in some kind of understanding of the data, give that understanding of the data to the machine learning algorithms. And even with small data points, a machine learning algorithms will be doing a very, very good job in terms of getting the output. Maybe if you just have 10,000 records or 20,000 records, even then you can use a machine learning algorithm with some input from the user, from the data scientist to get that output as per the requirement or as per the expectation. So this is where a machine learning and deep learning differs. But when we have a system which is very complicated and as human will not be able to create those features or create those data points for the system to build, that is where deep learning comes in. Now, some of the use cases of deep learning is recognizing the handwritten characteristics. If you have written something, now there are a lot of these books, ancient scripts, which are handwritten, and then we want to digitize those books. So that is where converting that and recognizing what those characters are. So this is one of the use cases of a deep learning. Similarly, voice recognition. Now, people speaking in multiple different languages, multiple different accents, it becomes very difficult for machine learning to do that. So that is where we have these deep learning algorithms, which will help us build these voice recognition. Similarly, we have recognition of authorized signatures. Now we have these banks, which helps us use those checks to validate whether it is the right person or not. And this is being automated where there is no user sitting in to validate your signature. The system is recognizing the signature and then understanding if it is of the right person or not. Now, these are different use cases of machine learning and deep learning. That is where we focus on building these solutions, which actually makes the life of the customers easy. Now, voice recognition, for example, if the company has done already built a very good search engine recommendation, we have all those things in place. That is where the company will go into voice recognition. Now, what it is doing is like you can just speak on the things that you need, and it creates and add those products to your cart. And that is where people are able to search for products more easily. Now, while they are traveling, while they are doing something, they just speak on maybe Amazon Echo, and then it captures that and then places an order or places those products into your cart. You speak to Amazon Echo saying that, hey, I'm running out of coffee. It adds those coffee that you usually buy into the cart. Now, this is where the companies are making the life of customers easy and getting the maximum revenue from the customers by selling their products. Now, this is where we have various different architectures of neural networks. We'll go into what these architectures are on the day 3 when we talk about the data science solutions. Now, for some of the examples is like, how can we look at the images, understand what it is, understanding how the computers are driving these cycles, these vehicles. These are these autonomous vehicles, a lot of research going on in this area. How can we separate the ground from some obstacle? Now, this is where we use computer vision to see from the image if we can tag different items. The classification and segmentation, how can we identify what are the different boundaries from the images? Recommendation system, what do you recommend different customers? Now, Netflix is where, based on what customers have already seen, it recommends a lot of these movies, a lot of these series to people coming on the Netflix. Now, this is one use case where Netflix tries to capture the customer's attention the maximum. Now, if it captures the attention of the customer, that is where he will keep coming back to Netflix, keep paying them. That is what the recommendation systems are doing. Similarly, Amazon and Flipkart. If you are just visiting website, Amazon or Flipkart to buy something, but it shows you something else, it starts showing recommendations. So that is where it changes your behavior. You went on to buy a jacket, but you also ended up buying a shoes along with the jacket. You went to buy a trousers, you also ended up buying a shirts with that. Similarly, it gives a lot of these recommendations for every customer, and which is personalized to their experience. So if the website knows that this customer doesn't buy any shirts, it will not give you recommendations for that. It will give you the recommendations which will help buy customers from their website. So they understand what works for what customers, and based on that, it is personalized for each customer. This is called as marketing for one. So they create those marketing recommendations, which is personalized for each customer. If they are like 100 million customers visiting their website over a year, all of those customers might be getting advertising recommendations based on their journey, based on what products they are looking, what things that they are liking. Similarly, for a Netflix, what movies you have already watched, what is the rating that you chose to give, and based on those ratings, it recommends the different movies or series. Now, this is where we come to the end of today's session. Any questions on this part, you can put it on the chat, I will reply. Or before we end on going to the questions, I will also like to make an announcement for this, like we are starting with our training on the data science, which helps you understand each of these concepts in detail in terms of how do we apply them, what are the coding languages we do, how we develop those solutions by using Python, SQL, and we talk into the basics of statistics, which actually make you capable of building these solutions which delivers results. So this course is designed for a period of 3 months, which will have a session, which is a live session every day in the morning for 1 hour. We have daily assignments planned for it. And the best part of this is we do not require you to have prior coding experience. If you're new to coding, that also works. So we will be teaching you the coding from the scratch in terms of understanding how Python works, the SQL, the Python, SQL, the data science, analytics, machine learning, the different algorithms of machine learning. And also we'll be talking about a lot of real world use cases, how these companies use the data to build their solutions. And for each of the different algorithm which we'll be working on, we'll be using industry relevant data to solve that particular problem statement and build a solution for that. So this is the course that we are launching immediately after this. So if you're interested, get in touch with the coordinators. They will be happy to help you, guide you in terms of giving you any details that you are interested in. Okay, we are open for questions. If you have any questions, we'll take.
Thanks, Ismail bhai. It's a very nice session, actually. I request all the participants to have clarify their doubts or questions. We have like 5-10 minutes left. So if you have any questions apart from the course, like whatever we listen in these sessions, please try to ask the questions. Actually, duration, I think it's 3 minutes duration.
Okay, I see a question where someone was asking about the difference between AI, ML, and artificial intelligence. Just to give you a brief about that quickly, artificial intelligence is the complete umbrella of the science where a human, instead of a human, a machine is working. So artificial intelligence is that umbrella under which any machine which can make decision, which can work similar to how a human is thinking, is being termed into artificial intelligence. This is where a lot of these robotics, automatic decisions, any machine which can take their decisions on their own, that comes under artificial intelligence. Robotics is a very good example of artificial intelligence. Machine learning is where the machine helps us read and understand huge data which a human will not be able to understand due to the sheer volume of the data. It is where the machine builds rules for understanding that data. Deep learning is where we build algorithms which are similar to how a human neuron system is. Deep learning is also called as neural networks. So it works similar to how the neurons in the brain works. So it creates those relations between different data points and then create rules which are similar to a human mind. And all of these comes under the umbrella of artificial intelligence. We have seen some of the algorithms which are being used in machine learning and deep learning. We just took the names of them. In the day 2 of the bootcamp, that is where we'll go into some of the algorithms of the machine learning. What each algorithm is using, how it is working. We'll not go into the exact working of those because each algorithm will take a lot more time to explain. We'll touch upon all the different algorithms, talk about the use cases in detail for the machine learning algorithms on day 2. I hope the differentiating between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning is clear.
Um, Ismail, wait, there is one question that how much mathematics do I need to study for the ML?
Right now, if you are good with 12th standard mathematics, that's good. We do not need any extra mathematics for this. We will be mostly using the statistics from class 12, which we will have a refresher course during our 3 months course. We'll talk about, we have a module on statistics, which will cover all the mathematics that is needed for machine learning. So if you have cleared your 12th, that should be good. The tools that are required is mostly Python. So we do most of the things in Python. So for that, if we learn Python, then we'll be able to build the solutions in both machine learning and the artificial intelligence, neural networks, deep learning. All of those things are just using Python and SQL. So these are the two tools that are required. So you'll have to be good at both of these, Python and SQL. In our course, we start people from Python coding and SQL coding, which will help us build those solutions from scratch. What are the market opportunities in data science in coming future in your perspective? It is, you can understand that the data that we are generating every day is expanding day by day. And as we expand generating the data, we will need people who needs to extract value from the data. And that is going to just keep expanding every day as we go. We require a lot of data scientists today, and then we will keep on requiring data scientists as we move forward. People who can understand the data, make value from the data, will be one of the most important skills as we go forward. It's just about the sheer volume of the data that we are generating. Just think about how much data you are generating, how much data each and every person is generating while they are just browsing different things.
Ismail, one question is there that is it very difficult for to build a career as a data scientist as a fresher?
Right now, our company has hired 40 freshers just last month. So that is just the volume that we are hiring at our company. That gives a very good opportunity for freshers to learn and understand. What I would say is, if you put in your effort, get an understanding of the topics, be able to deliver what is being taught, you will be very much valued. It's just about developing your skills. So if you are able to uh, learn these concepts, understand these concepts, and apply these concepts, you will be very much valuable in the field of data science. And the data science doesn't have, what I would say, I usually say, people is like, data science doesn't have more than 100 concepts. It is not like rocket science. It doesn't have more than 100 concepts. If it doesn't even have 100 concepts, if you can learn, understand, and apply them, you will be very much valuable for any company. As long as you are generating value from the data, you'll be valued. People who have experience should look at the field or the domain that they are working on. So anyone like a JavaScript developer, uh, there are two aspects to the data science. One is the ability to code, learn, and understand the algorithms and concepts. The other part is the understanding of the business. So when we are hiring people, what we look at is, if he is a fresher, we look at people, a fresher having clear understanding of the concepts, ability to code. Someone who is coming up with an experience, we expect him to also bring in some kind of a business understanding. If the experienced person brings in a business understanding, that is where he will be useful in the field of data science, because there are two aspects to the data science. One is knowing how to do, and the other is knowing where to do what. Now, if someone who is experienced will have to bring in this expertise, saying that, hey, I know this industry, I worked in retail industry for developing this, I know the retail industry, how it works, you should be able to contribute to making value from the data which is there in the retail industry. Just for an example. So anyone with an experience will need to bring in the business expertise. Someone who is not a developer will be teaching them the Python and the SQL coding, which should last for at least 3-4 weeks. And then if you can put in your time, you should be very well be able to code and become a developer. Data science doesn't need you to code very much. It is just Python and SQL. These are the only two languages that we require in data science. It is more to do with applying what different algorithms are and have the ability to apply these algorithms. Cognitive science in the role of development. So there are two aspects to it. One is developing AI and ML algorithms, developing new solutions. That is where we usually not work on. We work on using the already developed AI and ML solutions, AI and ML algorithms to apply to the data and bring value from the data. So there are actually two aspects to AI and ML. Are we developing new algorithms? New algorithm is like, are we researching on building a new algorithm altogether? Now, that is one part which is mostly focused on research and academics. In the industry, what we need to do is the algorithms which are already developed, we need to apply them to the data. And when we apply that to the data which a company has, you will be able to extract value from the data. And the companies need value to be extracted from the data. Like, for example, Amazon wants to send offer for people to start buying grocery. Now we'll have to identify who are the right customers who needs to be sent this offer. Now, the offer cannot be sent to everyone. Now, the only thing is like, how do we identify customers who are interested in grocery? So that is where we look at already developed algorithms, use the data which the company has stored, and then identify such customers which will bring revenue to the company. Now, the industry is looking for such thing. If you go into the research, that is a different field altogether. Sessions for tomorrow. This is where we plan to have these sessions. On the day 2, we talk about ML algorithms. What are the different machine learning algorithms? Where do we use these algorithms? What are the different use cases of all these algorithms? What is supervised, unsupervised models? How do we use that? On the day 3, we talk about building a data science solution. So once we know about the data and we are aware of machine learning algorithms, then we will talk about how companies build these solutions. What is the step 1? What is step 2? What is step 3? We walk through those steps and then see how the solution is being built.
Okay. Thanks, Ismail bhai. I hope everyone have understand the basics of the day 1 sessions, which is about the data science, AI, and ML. I would request everyone that try to participate on day 2 and day 3 sessions as well, which we will have the very interesting concepts on ML algorithms. And the day 3, which is a conclude about the building data science solutions. And we will have some more QA questions at the end of day 3 in terms of the career opportunities on the data science. Okay, so I would request everyone, so try to go through the sessions. We will share the recordings, okay, and try to be available for the day 2 and day 3, so that you can get the complete idea about the data science, so that how I can able to build my career on data science. Okay. For fee and course details, I would request to contact your coordinators that through the link from where you have reached to these sessions, like let's say from the Maharashtra Nanded and from Andhra Pradesh Kurnool Microcare Academy. Okay, so all the course details, the course contents will be explained by the coordinators once you approach them. Okay. Thank you everyone for this awesome day 1 sessions. We will looking forward you for the day 2 and day 3. Thank you. Have a nice day and have a nice weekend as well.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.